And hello everybody, it's I, the Heroscape, doing another paint night. I've been in the mood to paint lately, and my new setup is all good to go, so it's a lot easier to hop on without being burdened by 1,000 tiny little plugins and arrangements. So we're actually kind of getting into a stable spot for streaming and painting, which is always nice. I've done some painting earlier today, and got Scabrith painted, from which I painted on Renegade's channel yesterday. And I'm really loving how this guy turned out. We had some small details to touch up on. For the most part, we're calling this guy acceptable to hit the battlefield. So I kind of followed that today. I didn't film it. I just kind of wanted to paint by myself. But today, these new Tanukis and maybe the Imperator, some parts, I just wanted to get some paint on, and I needed some motivation to actually do it, as I've been staring at the models for like 10 minutes. So why not? I got a late night stream. And yeah, sounds like a plan to me. So without further ado, let's dive right in and get some paint on these little guys. Now these are common squads, and traditionally when I paint common squads, I do a whole lot less detail than I would for, say, bigger squads. But these ones might be the showcase models, and everyone else will be maybe not as finely detailed. We'll see how I'm feeling. Probably not gonna be a long stream tonight. Just kind of trying to get some paint on these guys, as they have been staring at me, and I've just been compelled to get these guys painted. We're starting off with one of my favorite colors from Pro Quill is dark yellow green. I use this color a whole lot, especially for the Vorids. It's just a very rich, deep color, and it's great for kind of this earthy army green they like to use. And we are making sure this is pretty thinned down, as we did Synthol Prime these guys using black primer and white ink, just to really make it as fast as possible. Keeping the paint pretty thin, mixing it with water, and just applying this to the cape. These are fun little guys. I've played a lot with them, and honestly, they play really fun. They can do a lot and are able to deny a lot of glyphs. You can put the damage out too. You get high with these guys. They are limited by their small attack, but even a couple squads of these guys in army can really disrupt your opponent's plans. There we go. We're trying to do a nice solid base coat for these guys. Letting that underlayer do a lot of the work for us. Heck yeah, I love these guys. Very excited to add them to my collection. Well, thanks for stopping in, Soloscaper. Yeah, these guys are pretty fun. I really enjoy the Vorids. They're a fun unit. They just develop so fast and so quickly, and they're hard to take down. They're absolute trucks. Once you can get them going, their attack output is kind of their biggest downside. But if you can kind of set them up, you know, you can get that. You can get the kill from the leaving engagement from opponent, from like friendly figures, and then you can throw them into lava. One time I was playing an OHS game with them. One time I played these guys in a single turn. One Tanuki threw a guy into lava, and then another one killed another guy from leaving engagement attack from another figure I had next to him, I think a Festering Honor Guard. And then they both attacked and killed two more following opposing units. So these guys can put the hurt on if you if the map sets you up. I've actually never seen anyone play with these with the lava crabs, so maybe there's some room for that there, but it's typically not advised to have two kinds of common squads, although it is starting to become a little bit more popular with various splash armies. I saw a lot at ScapeCon. those do seem to be making a bit of a comeback. We have some, you just kind of send them in waves, you know, two units of stingers, units of like another like powerhouse, kind of like minions of Akar or something like that, and you just have kind of a lot more variety. I think that's starting to become a little bit of the in vogue nowadays. And we're just putting this thin layer on, really just kind of going a bit more for an earthy tone with this green, and it's going to be really fun. I love painting capes, so this is a easy fun time for me. Are we too bright? We might be too bright, which is a rare occasion. There we go. Go down a couple steps. Yeah, I'm trying to stream a bit more regularly. It's honestly, my schedule has made it hard to do as much editing as I'd like, so I'm going to try to compensate that with a bit more live streams while I'm painting. I love edited content, but I really don't like editing nowadays in this stage of life. I'm a little bit too particular and a little bit too esoteric when I edit. I spend a lot of time finding the perfect reference, and it just makes me happy. Finding a movie clip that is like referencing what I'm talking about, or a random clip from a video 8 years ago. I get easily distracted with that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm glad to have some common squads in the mix though, just because, you know, it gives you a lot more room for experimenting with the painting, and I can do some of these fast, I can do some of these detailed, and I don't feel like I have to get rid of 6 awashi that's on my counter right now. And we're just getting this nice solid base coat on these tanuki. Also, it's nice because I can work on more than one model at a time and let the other layers dry, which has kind of been a problem with some of the heroes I've been painting live. Like yesterday I was painting Scabbard. I just kind of ran out of things to paint while I waited for paint to dry. And he's a very, finicky figure. Just because there's lots of layering and details and all that kind of stuff on him. I am a Premiere person, even though I don't wish I was. I use Adobe Premiere. I've been using it since high school, so I'm just kind of stuck on it. I'm too either lazy or scared to go to other editing programs, and it works because I use all the other Adobe programs for graphics and interface and all. So it's nice with the integration, but it is it's a program that has more faults than benefits sometimes. I feel like we have a love-hate relationship in Premiere too. Yeah, I used to love editing. It's just the problem I have with editing nowadays is the time I spend editing is time I'm not painting. So I like painting a little bit more than editing. At one point I was considering hiring an editor, one of my friends to be an editor, but I just never I ran out of money. At the end of the day, I ran out of money. And my channel is really not a for-profit channel. I try to keep it pretty accessible for most people. Like, I've thought about doing a Patreon and stuff like that. I still might do it in the future, but I would really only want to do a Patreon if I could figure out a way to consistently give people things that they would actually want. And I haven't devised a way to, between my busy schedule and I like to help people out, so I'd like to make it worthwhile. Clip champ and hate it. Definitely need to trade up. Yeah. I'm a little bougie in my editing. I wish I wasn't. I know there's better alternatives out there. But I do kind of more semi-professional graphic work for some other kind of on the side, and you know, I work with a couple other like churches for like I manage their social medias with that, so it's worth the investment just to have a bit more accessibility. Scavenger Rico really liked it. Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate that as well. I've been on a road to discovering yellow. Yellow has been kind of a journey of mine, and I'm happy he's turning out pretty good. Yellow is a fickle color. If you love it, it'll love you back. But otherwise, it'll be a bit of a booger. All right, so we're gonna let these dry. Maybe go through, put another coat on, and then let's get some let's get some color on Imperial Arcane. I had a lot of people commenting on how I was just utterly confused by the back of the box. So like, what's the harm in raising a little cane for the unboxing video I did? And I just, for some reason, the phrasing of, like, I know it was a saying, but like the phrasing of it just kind of caught me off guard, I think, because it's not typically said in that context. But I honestly thought it was a chicken place. Just like, oh, why are you talking about the chicken? For this model, we are using dark silver from Pro Acryl. It is a really deep, rich, highly pigmented metallics they have. They're probably my second favorite metallics out there. Honestly, my favorite is Vallejo Model Color. They're very smooth and buttery, but I kind of wanted this one just because it's a bit darker and deeper. We're going to be kind of layering this into black, kind of using an undercoat kind of layering method just to really kind of make this thing feel dark and intimidating. I like how he has like a big skull on its front right there. Yeah, that's what Renegade gets for trying to be funny. Yeah, I'm confused. No, I got it once it was said. It just kind of caught me off guard, because normally I'm a pretty big fan of idioms and sayings and all that kind of stuff. It's not like I'm opposed to that kind of stuff. It's just, I think it's more of a regional saying than like kind of a national saying. I honestly looked it up because it was bothering me. It's more of a southern thing that they say that. I'm not too associated with South. I'm in the middle. I'm in Kansas, so it's about as south as I've ever been. And this is a really easy model to paint. Like using a few chunks of silver glitter to make chops in the armor. Ooh, that's a really cool idea. Yeah, I might go through and do a bit of detailing after this. I'm just kind of getting him base coated here. Like, are you talking about like actual glitter or like glitter paint? You don't have Kane pre-ordered yet. The model's simply new. Yeah, he's an ATST, you know. He's breaking new ground. Yeah, he's a fun little guy. I hope he gets some support soon. He's kind of right now acting like a bench warmer. But hopefully we can get some support for our Walker friend here. I think if I had another version, I'd probably paint this kind of green like the blimp, just to make them all kind of cohesive. But I always try to do kind of the box art first and then kind of go from there. We're just using a big brush, keeping the paint not too thin so it flows, but just kind of going for this nice even coverage here. A lot of smooth areas. Honestly, I don't know how well like just straight up speed paint would work on this, just because I'd imagine it would all kind of settle on this. It can be either, huh? I'll have to look more into that. That sounds like a... I'm honestly not... I'm the biggest fan of working with metallics. I always seem to kind of mess it up. I've been training myself to do a little bit more non-metallic metal, but also I'm just a busy guy, so if it's... for the Vorids, sometimes I try to do a bit more of that non-metallic metal look. It's still kind of the stage where it's looking like rock, like I haven't fully mastered it yet, but I'm getting there. It's something I'm actively practicing just to have it underneath my tool belt. But honestly, I play so much Heroscape, I kind of like the look of that shiny metallic. It feels out of place if, you know, if you try too hard on these models. New channel, who's this? Well, hello! Welcome, Mara Shroud. Fun fact, that is the channel and person that inspired me to start streaming and doing my own stuff like this. So, huge shout out to that channel. They do a lot of Nintendo related stuff over there, and good stuff they do. Still hoping for a Vorid penguin. Yeah, I don't know what they're expanding to. You know, I don't know if the birds will be kind of like the Raptorians that were hinted at on Mar, kind of which are like a bird-like species, or I don't know what options are there, but I do hope we get some amphibians from the Vorid planet. You know, I love for them not to be like as tech based, but more like magic based, like some arcane salamanders or axolotls or stuff like that. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. Kind of like a different subspecies. And we're just doing a nice solid code here. We get the gun as well. With the machine gun, of course, it's got to have the machine gun. We were close. We saw it in the HasLab preview, and you know, it was almost a reality. I'm sure something like that's gonna be coming and popping up someday. It's too easy just to miss out on. I hope the next releases we get some classic units we've all wanted for a while. You know, I think everyone would be happy if we get some classic orcs, a new orc army, or some classic Morrow. Even though they have a lot, it'd be nice to have some units that are just a kind of a traditional return to form. Although I do like the new stuff we're getting as well. It's I'm pretty easy to please. Just get new little guys in my hand, and I'm happy. Yeah, I do wish Kane in here was able to get out of his seat just so we can kind of get some of these hard to reach areas, but we'll do the best we can. And of course, if you have a airbrush, you can do this really fast and really smooth. I do have an airbrush, but I like to do some of this stuff just live on camera so people can see that they can do it as well. What are your thoughts on the Embers of War stuff? I love the gallery crackling. Let's see here. So I have a video recorded going over all my thoughts on all of them, but that is just kind of it's been for some reason a hard video just to put together. Probably talking about that editing I was talking about. It's just been kind of sitting. But I love the gallery. The gallery, I think, are really great designs. They're really fun to play, thematic. I like that they included a Washia in there, and there's a lot of room for army building and development. They look fun. They kind of walk that line between being goofy and cool, you know. So I'm a big fan of the gallery, and it looks like they actually are kind of a powerhouse. The crackling, I think, is pretty cool as well. I think it's going to be fun. I plan on painting mine like an Omastar, some other varietals, you know, some cool pearlescent shells and some, and you know, I'm just happy Olar finally got his Hydra. The Great Bow Archers, I'm not the biggest fan of. I just don't like units that don't have to move and just sit there. Those are never fun for me. You know, Fourth Mass, Ordo, just units that best played by not moving are just rarely a fun experience. So not too looking forward to those. I like the sculpt, so they'll be fun to paint, but honestly, I'm not looking forward to painting, you know, 3 or 4 large squads, just because of the time required to do so. So I don't have any like strong feelings against them. It's more of a personal play style thing, comparatively. We'll let this guy. Oh, let's get these little spokes in the front here. And then we have the Scions. They're goofy little guys. I wish one was non-combatant, but I think there's too much goofiness in the models and not enough like coolness. But I like that they bond with Usanlan, gives him some utility. I feel like their bonding net is a bit too wide and unnecessary. Like I feel, and also a little bit too limiting. Like the Scions should be able to go with any dragon or an Archmage, King or Queen. Like that way, even if you just get a lot more unique builds out of them. But they're fun little guys. I just, the problem is the green skills are so good. It's hard to top them, and I don't think they will. But it's nice to have some dragon support in contemporary formats. And let's see what else was there. The Heroes of Arborius just are all cool models. So from a painter standpoint, I just really want to paint them all because they look sick as heck. Their powers are all over the place. I think Haluchat is going to be a front runner, and Ice Troll armies, I think it's just going to be a really strong thing, and will only get better as Dryans just need a couple better beasts to be viable, I think, and fun to play with. Currently, the beasts they have just, I don't think they scratch that itch of what we need. I think Anshu is pretty fun to play with in some builds. But other than that, they're mostly just kind of filler. And what else? There's so much stuff revealed. I'm happy to have roads and contemporary. It's gonna be great just being able to move fast again. And what else? What was the other? Oh, the Crimson Widow and Dreadnoughts. Yeah, that's gonna be really, really great as well. Pirates are gonna get a lot more love. Crimson Widow had so many fun building options with all the fun, unique stuff. And Dreadnoughts are just really fun sculpts. I'm just looking forward to painting those guys. What color are their bespoke specs? So we're going to use some dark gold and brown from Pro Krill and just put these on their sacks. They're Tanuki sacks. Which, you gotta be careful saying, because I've seen Pompoko. Tanuki sacks can have a couple different meanings. I don't know if this is too kind of not dark enough of a brown, but we'll darken it. I think it's a good starting point. Balancing browns is tough sometimes because you always have to kind of, like when you have fur and like leather, the Vorids is always kind of a balancing act of what tone of brown to use. But we're just working really fast today. Honestly, this is helping me just get these base layers done. So I appreciate you all keeping me focused and talking. I think actually I have a black bag. Couldn't agree more. Love it all. Yeah, they're all good. It's a fun time to be a fan of Heroscape. I think the Renegade is really making strides to improve the overall experience, and yeah, I'm enjoying it. I never thought I would be kind of working with Heroscape in a semi-official capacity, and I'm living my best life. We're gonna get some kind of have two tones of green, I think is what I'm gonna go for. We're gonna use a bit of olive green from Vallejo. Yeah, the Tanuki sack. That's what I'm saying. We're gonna go two tones here just to add a bit of distinction. I'm gonna go to a bit smaller brush just to get a bit more precision. So I think, yeah, their clothes are a bit of a brighter green. This is a great green I just used because it almost is a 1-for-1 exact match of Viper skin. So if you're painting Vipers, just get this and it'll look almost exactly like it. Honestly, I'm probably going to paint a varietal of these in all just like ninja black so they kind of fit that ninja theme. I like the commons, how they definitely made them a little bit less detailed than some of the AOA models. You can just tell there's a bit of a bigger scale that you kind of switch to, and you know, if your OCD is probably a bit annoying, but it is a lot easier to paint compared to like the Exiles. Like the Exiles and the Pirates and even some of the Eisenach, they just have so much going on. It's just a bit of a pain to, if you want to do a decent job filling everything in. Let's see, their masks are kind of a darker gray, brown. But I'm not like stressing out too much about getting these 100% color matched. I could if I was, you know, less lazy with these guys, but at the end of the day, I want them to be close and just look good, so. Just filling them in. You hope to see some G.I. Joe at Gen Con? Yeah, I'm not familiar with the G.I. Joe brand. I honestly, I couldn't name anything about it. But I'm glad for people that do like G.I. Joe that it's there for them. Like, I'm never gonna poop on someone's parade just because they like something I don't like. But I'm interested to see what they have in store for that. Because, you know, some new cool terrain would be really nice to draw some people like me who like the game but don't really know much about G.I. Joe. The only problem I have is that they made it kind of canonical. Like, I just, you know, we're still recovering from the D&D era where everything was canonical. So it seems like they're leaning more into the kitchen sink storytelling more than the kind of the linear storytelling with that, which is fine, you know. Never forget that Lilo and Stitch and Kim Possible had a canonical episode together. Like, they live in totally different worlds. But yeah, I think there's some interesting things. I don't know if I would prefer them to be more power scaled, like, you know, Marvel superheroes, or a bit more kind of balanced to Classic Scape, so the mix it better can be used more. I honestly don't know how I feel on it. And we're just adding another layer to these cloaks to get this nice solid coverage. I love Pro Code just because it has such high pigments. It really just fills a model so well. I honestly wouldn't recommend it to someone just starting off painting though, as it takes a little bit of kind of knowing how the paint works, as it is kind of so thick you can easily mess up your model. I still think Army Painter or Vallejo are the best beginner paints to dive into, and I don't use beginner as like a bad term. Like, they're just a lot more accessible, I'd say. Okay, we're gonna get this guy's clothes painted as well. You know, it'd be better as a separate game like Marvel or Planeswalker. Yeah, I definitely agree, but I ain't gonna complain about it. I'd love to see it. I hope they have some more fun IPs they bring into it, just to kind of sustain the game and keep it alive. I don't know how people would feel about this, but I honestly would love to see D&D be brought back. There's some classic D&D units that never made their way into Heroscape, and I could even see them like changing how it works. Instead of, you know, them following direct generals, it could be more of a like an alignment system. Like, these are the chaotic neutral, or there's some way maybe to classify them differently instead of just the general. Although it would be nice to see Valkyl return. Yeah, we gotta get that Beholder in there. What's some other classic things? We need a Rust monster. Just kind of those like iconic D&D monsters, just to really kind of fill in the roster for it. And then also get a Lizard Folk hero, like an official one, since that's always been kind of like a dangling thread, as the Greenskulls never got their Lizard Folk hero officially. Yeah, these guys are so much easier to paint than any other unit that has been released so far. They're actually kind of enjoyable. Like, these are just kind of, you could probably get a squad of these done in an hour if you're really focused and not talking about everything that pops in your mind. Yeah, you can always use more D&D figures. Yeah, I would love to see a return to that IP. I know it's never gonna happen, but I would go head over heels for Star Wars just because, I mean, you can see my shirt. That's what I like a lot. That's my IP of choice. Honestly, I think a pre-painted Lord of the Rings miniatures game, you know, that's not kind of Games Workshop oriented, would sell like hotcakes. But like I said before, those licenses are kind of tied up with Game Workshop, who purposely makes the models too small so you can't use them with anything else, because that's how Game Workshop does business. I don't have a lot of love for Games Workshop. If you notice, I rarely ever use their paints. And that's just because I don't approve of how the company operates. And also I don't really like, I think all their stuff is overpriced. But that's, you know, if you use, it's not like a political statement, it's just more, it's anti-consumer sometimes. So if you use Citadel paints, I ain't going to lambast you. It's just not my cup of tea. Although I will admit, I do like Known Oil. Their Known Oil and their primer are probably the best. They are usually worth the little extra dollars they cost. What color are their gloves? They got like a yellow brown. Okay, I got some yellow ochre here. We'll mix with some brown. Dungeon Master and Venger you like to see? Oh, from like the who's Venger? Is it from the classic cartoon? If that's what you were referencing. Happy with more IP as long as they keep on with the original Heroscape stuff. The originality and creativity is what I love about it. Indeed, like honestly, I hope we get some historicals. It's about time. You know, we had our bit. I'm not asking for like anything controversial, but you know, like just put a Viking in there. Put a samurai. Like no one's gonna freak out about any of those things, and you can kind of ease into it. Just because I think it's a core facet of the game, and it would make so many people happy. So we just took that dark warm brown and mixed it with some yellow ochre here. Yeah, Lord of the Rings would be awesome. I think it would just be. I think Heroscape is the best system to kind of play out, you know, those big siege moments, those dynamic, because the terrain is like a big part of Lord of the Rings. Like it, you know, you especially the movies and stuff like that. Just where things are and the infrastructure of it all really plays a lot into the battles. You know, Helm's Deep is a location. It's not just a castle. It's kind of a character in the fight itself. So having a bit of that would be really fun. I think it'd be a good mix. All right. I'm liking these guys. These guys are nice and easy here. Here's how we're looking. Let's see how close I can get. Yeah, they're coming along. I haven't figured out what I'm doing with the fur yet. I'm kind of stalling for time as I figure that out. I wish we had a bit more of the tail exposed, just so we can get those rings, you know, those classic Tanuki rings showing through. And it's tough when their face are obscured by mask. Like, it really makes it hard to do kind of, you know, fun fur effects that I would want to do. But we'll keep it simple here. Gen Con's coming up. I'm trying to get as many figures as I can painted before I head that way, just in case I decide to play with these. You know, no one wants to play with gray figures. I'm excited about going to Gen Con. I've never been, so it's going to be a whirlwind of experience for me, I'm sure. As a person who doesn't like big crowds, I think it's going to be a big crowd. That's what they keep on telling me. yeah, definitely recommend doing zenithal or dry brush on these guys, as you want to really just make this as easy and bright poppy. Well, it's past your bedtime. You'll have a good night. I'm excited to see the finished product. Definitely thank you so much for stopping in, Soloscaper. Pleasure talking to you. You take care. I don't know if I'll finish tonight. I just wanted to get these guys started. But we'll see what we get done. Alright, I'm starting to overwork it. So I'm just going to let these guys sit. And we'll get some more Arcane going here. So let's get our dry brush, and let's get some bright paint going up on this guy. If I can find it. Nope, that's gray, not silver. We're looking for some bright silver here. And I had it laid out, but yeah. Here we go. My organization is haunting to some, but you know. My wife included. She cannot stand my quote-unquote organizational methods, which I don't blame her. I don't really get it either. So we're just taking this, and let me get... knocking everything over. Alright, and we are just removing the excess off the brush here of this bright silver from Monument. And we're just... still not thin enough. We're just going over this, trying to catch these raised edges. Still might be a little too loaded up, which is fine. We kind of want it to be heavy as we're going to be layering this down. I want a little bit of texture on it. This area, buff it up. And we're just using long flowing strokes to really kind of catch the edges of this right here. I'm almost tempted to keep it like this because this looks pretty clean, but I do want to get that black overlay on it and then go to some highlights. Pretty crispy. Okay, what color do I want to make these guys? They have kind of a, do I want to go more warm brown or darker brown here? Let me look at this card real fast just to... Oh, I think the sacks are black. That might help me in my direction. So let's get some brown gray, kind of darken these a bit here. Just fill that in. It's just darker, so it gives me more room to work up if I need to. And I wanted to use that same color for the fur, so let's keep it all unique and separated. I didn't want to go on full like dark blue or dark black for these. I still wanted these to feel a bit more kind of, I'm trying to keep all kind of earthy tones for these guys as best as possible. To get some of that dark golden brown. And just put these onto the models here. Like a ninja, yeah. Yeah, I think these guys would look really cool in dark blacks. I definitely want to go back and do that. And as always, your thumb is the best best color tester there is. You can always go onto like a napkin or a paper towel, but I like having a quick reference when I'm painting. It just kind of keeps it fresh and also lets me test the consistency a bit better, just to make sure it's where I want it to be. And just go here. Now this is going to be a bit tricky. That's just the tail kind of clips into the cape. You just kind of want to get that from all angles. I actually missed a big portion of that cape right there. I'll have to go back and do. And I put the paint on a bit thick, so I'm kind of spreading it around so it doesn't settle on these necessary little cracks and details, because that's really what's going to sell the model, is that fur right there, which we need. Alright, and let's just brighten up the gloves a bit. Just kind of layering it next, just more of that pure ochre in. Okay, these guys are definitely getting there. And we're just getting a more solid layer for this cloak. And fill in the spots we missed. I definitely probably should have gotten my figure holder when I was doing this, but I think it'll be okay. We're just getting our base layer done. Base layer is really just blocking in your colors, making sure everything's where it needs to be. And then, you know, the highlights is where you can really make it sing. Highlights and shading. Highlights and detail work is kind of where you can start telling the story. You know, you can start adding scratches and patches on the cloaks, and you can add little beady eyes and stuff like that. But that part takes so long, and it requires a lot of focus. It's not the best stuff to do on stream, as I'm I'm really more focused on that. I'm liking this dual tone here. I think it makes the model feel a little bit more separate, which is nice. This area underneath the lake is driving me crazy. I do wish the cape had a split in it, so it wasn't like, you know, you had this awkward part where the, because I'm just getting this on this lake right now. Part of me almost wants to make these masks red just for a really bright pop of contrast, although that would defeat the purpose of them being ninjas, so. Again, let's spin it around. We're using this dark gray-brown for this. I might go through and change this color later. I'm not fully so sold on it. I might mix a bit of black with it just to darken it. Fun fact about me, I hate painting belt buckles. I always mess them up for some reason. They're like my nemesis. Which, like, they're not hard to do. I just don't care enough to do them well. I'm just doing a bit of silver for the kunsai, I think that's the term of the weapon. The throwing knives. Someone told me off because I said it was a shuriken. And apparently not all ninja throwing things are are shurikens. Too for the belt. I don't want to do warm brown. Let's see here. Let's let that sit. And let's see if I can at least get this part done here. Get to a good stopping point before we kind of move to the next layers. Good. Nothing fancy, but sometimes basic, just filling colors in is the most important part. I'm looking for a black transparent. I know it's nearby here somewhere. Like I said, I don't even know how my own system works. There we go, transparent black. This is another Monument product. It's very much like speed paint. It's a bit thicker, which I like. I have a bit more control of when you apply it. Now we're just mixing that. Kind of create like a nice glaze. So we're gonna take this kind of dry brushed metallic, and theoretically some of that should still show through while also appearing as black. We dry brush just to give a bit of contrast when this goes over it. And then don't want to overwork it like I'm doing now. We're trying to make this very smooth. I'm doing more of a wash at this point. Not what I was going for. I'm going to put it on just a bit thicker. I'm trying to kind of find the level I want to go with this. There we go. That's like pretty good. Should probably look at the box, but correct me if I'm wrong. I think this tank is kind of like a blackish. It's not pure, just silver. Even if I am wrong, I wanted to see it more like a dark, menacing machine that steps on woodland creatures of death type of deal. Probably add some rust effects to this, just a small bit, once this is all dry, and definitely build up from here. But we still have a bit of that metallic shining through, which I really like. Once this dries and lightens up a bit, I think it's going to look really cool, kind of a bit more of a unique take on it. That's what I'm going for. We'll definitely have to work on this a little bit more just to kind of get that balance we want. We're getting there. All right. Okay, I'm happy with how that is looking so far. He'll need a little bit more work, but we're going to let this dry for a bit, and we're going to call it a night here. I appreciate everyone who stopped by and chatted with me, really helped out. I'm honestly losing my voice, so I'm a little bit tired of talking, so I think we'll call it here tonight. I do plan on streaming a bit more regularly, trying to kind of work out the schedule for what works best, but definitely expect me to pop in with a lot more stuff to paint, as I have a large workload to do, and you all definitely help me get through it. Maybe I'll paint some classic units next time I hop on. Also have some Hero Quest and some Star Wars Legion that have just been sitting around. Maybe I'll do something different someday. You know, if you are watching and haven't subscribed, definitely do that if you love seeing this kind of content, as it does help me out. I'm trying to reach 1,000. I'm kind of on the goal to get that going, as just the triple digits would be awesome to hit. But regardless, I'm thankful for everyone that sits by and watches, as I'm a niche within the niche, and just happy to have everyone nearby. And I'm talking and painting, and I think we're gonna call it for tonight. You all have a good one, and keep scaping on. Bye.